Okay. We had a little banter before the banter here, and it is episode 5, and we have a loaded week. So we thought we'd throw on a podcast here for you guys, and we're just summing up a little of our adventures at the Toronto Golf Show. Talk a little about the Wasted Open, which was last weekend, and we're going to talk a little about Tiger's rebranding here at Riviera. So I thought I'd bring on my buddy Evan Richardson to take us through the tale. Here he is.
Ta-ta, Turtle Man. How do you do?
Yes. Good to see you. So this works out perfect. This was your first Toronto Golf Show that I took you on.
Yeah, you took me there. Yeah, I drove all the way from Coburg out to the, I don't know, convention center. I don't know what it's called. International
Center in Mississauga.
So
It's right by some planes.
I was just going to say, if you're ever out in Calgary or Edmonton or anywhere else that isn't Toronto, and you want to come to the Toronto Golf Show, talking about convenient, literally right off the runway, you could get the airplane to drop you off at the convention center. Yeah, very, very convenient, and great for me. I had a great time.
So how do you think perspective there for a first time attendee?
I'll say this about the Toronto Golf Convention. What is the
golf and travel show? Technically, is what it is.
Golf and travel show. So it's oddly enough. So a year ago, I went in that same building. They do it every single year. They do the home show on one side of the convention center, and then the golf show on the other. So last year, you asked me to go to the golf show, and me and my wife were moving, and my wife was like, "Sorry, hubby, you're gonna go to the home show." So I was thrilled that this year I got to go to the other side of the building. What did I think? You know what? I had a lot of fun. I will say, as a casual, because I do consider myself, I love golf. I love watching golf. But in terms of actually playing the sport on a regular basis, I'm nowhere near someone like you. I'm just a casual guy who gets out there maybe 10, 15 times a year. It was a lot of it might have been a little over my head. I think I had a great time. I think I learned more than I thought I was going to. I kind of went in, and it's a little intimidating because you can kind of speak to it as well. They had that whole lineup on the back of the building. The whole back wall of the convention center was all of, what was it? It was just every brand of golf club.
Yeah, brought their new drivers and irons. Yep.
And I think for you and some of the guys that you went there with, you went up there and you just knew. You were asking this and that, and like, hey, can I try this, and I had to go to you because everybody knows what they're talking about. I walked up there just being like, I'd like to try your driver.
Yeah, I see you have a driver here. May I give it a try?
So I think I really did, because then you went, hey, I recommend trying, what was it, the stiff this, and then
regular, and
So I mean, I
back for you,
I think I learned more than I thought I was going to, just based off of how much expertise was in the building.
Some osmosis Jones, as you please. For me, it's more of like, I guess, a veteran kind of grizzlied vet here going through. And it was kind of neat this year having Golf Town kind of come in and, bring in some of those big guys, like you were saying.
Yeah.
TaylorMade had all their newest stuff there. Ping. Who else was there? Mizuno. No Wilson. I was a little upset about that, but Strixon was there. And Titleist. Yeah, it was that was neat seeing their newest stuff, but I kind of wanted to play some of their few later generations, but I get it, they come with a plan. And but that was really neat having up to date new stuff that you could buy, like just launched. The one guy was like, where can I get this at Golf Town? I haven't seen it this week. And he said, well, sir, we had just launched it today, so I have to go check out today. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. So yeah, maybe let's do kind of 3 things you'd keep, maybe 3 things you'd change at next year's golf show.
Well, I mean, you couldn't keep it because, maybe you do. I'll talk about, obviously, the thing that got a lot of draw on social media, and it's the first thing kind of you walk in and you're like, oh, that's cool. It's the Nick Taylor 72-foot putt. Yeah. They had the Nick Taylor, everybody could line up, and you could do the Nick Taylor putt from last year's Canadian Open and try to make it. And, we were there, or at least I was there for, I think we were there for about 3 hours, and I probably heard about 4 or 5 cheers.
Yep.
And you have people putting nonstop. So only about 4 or 5 people made it when I was there. But that was a lot. That we didn't end up doing it only because the only thing I would change, maybe this can be 1-1. Keep that cool specialty, because that's a legendary putt. I mean, even next year and the year after and the year
Yeah.
after, people will remember that putt. Keep it. It's a fun feature, unless he hits a
Yeah.
long one this year. But I don't know how you get that line to be shorter. It was, you were there for 45 minutes to an
Yeah.
hour in that line if you wanted to do the putt. And
Well,
I just couldn't commit. I couldn't do it.
Well, I'll talk a little about. So I luckily went the Friday, and there was a group of us there, a lot of influencers, and shout out to all of you guys who are there. There's way too many of you to announce, but we lined up and we were taking little shifts here and there. But yeah, it was a long wait. There's nothing really else you can do at the time. If they kind of had it like part of the Golf Town store, where it's like you line up. Oh, worst case, I'm in the store, something, or you're looking at something. And maybe go to 3 putts. It was 5 putts at it. Maybe you switch it to 3 because by the third one, I'm already kind of like I put one close on my second. My second was my probably closest shot. So
Yeah, or a time slot. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It was a great idea.
yeah,
It was the first time they did it. So I hope they bring it back next year and they find a way to make it a little more approachable for someone who's maybe only going to be there for 3 hours. You don't want to spend,
yeah.
1/3 of your time waiting in line.
I thought
Uh,
it'd be interesting too. We had some great speakers, and some of them, I think, had a bit more draw than others. Just to be fair,
Bring,
maybe
I
have
love
that
this idea.
closer to it. Yeah,
Yes, because 100%. We went in. I think there was a speaker who maybe, yeah, like you said, wasn't a
yeah,
huge draw. There might have been 10 people sitting in the seats. If you put that uh, putting area
yeah.
right beside the stage, you immediately have a handful of people.
Yeah, but as I'm saying it too, I just think too, it's like someone's getting, a nice point across and just whoa, just goes off.
I
Yeah,
agree
I
with
mean,
you
I
too.
don't know, maybe yeah.
I
But there's
anyways,
something
no,
you can do around it, and yeah, still make it not like you say, just you're only there for 3 hours. That's still a good chunk of time. But when you're there
yeah,
for an hour, 1/3 of it's in line waiting for a putt. Yeah,
yeah, no. But I thought that was a great time. I also thought there were plenty of opportunities to swing a club. And
yeah,
again, for me, it's the middle of winter. It's February, or it was February when we went. Yeah, Feb.
hmm
Um, it was nice to kind of get in there, and like you said, there was the back wall of all those different brands, and I got to swing a couple clubs, and then I got to go over there and try the longest drive contest, and then I got to go over there and go to the closest to the pin, the virtual screen area. So there was a lot of opportunities for me to feel like I wasn't just looking.
mm.
It was great to look. They had all the merchandise and everything you'd ever want to buy there, and some good deals. But it was really nice to actually swing a club and feel like I had a little bit of fun, not just watching and talking.
Yeah, for sure. No, and you made up a good point there. You had a lot of chances to hit clubs and hit
Yeah.
some balls. And something that, we're going to kind of tease here a little. Um, we ran into Golf Ontario and some of their ideas this year, and one of them is the 1,000 ball challenge.
Yeah.
And, we thought maybe something we can take on. So we're going to be cooking up something this summer. So yeah, look forward to that. We're going to ask maybe for a few bucks here and there, but it's going to a great cause. And yeah, keep posted on that.
And another thing, kind of just telling you about Golf Ontario, and I guess it should be this way, and maybe it's always been this way, but again, it's my first time. I didn't realize how many, Ontario businesses are in the golf world.
Hmm.
I ended up buying a glove from,
Red
and
Rooster.
exactly, Red Rooster, and I think he was out of Ottawa, and he was such a nice guy. I can't remember his name, but he
Yeah,
was such.
we got the
And
nice shot guys too. I won this for taking a shot with their owner there and creator.
and
What a nice guy.
you've done a great job highlighting them on your Instagram page, because it was really nice getting to meet the people behind the brands, and a lot of brands I
Hmm.
didn't know. But then you're
For
talking to them
sure.
and you're going, "Oh wow, I want to root for you. I want to buy off of you,
Yeah.
because yeah, I can buy TaylorMade. Yeah, I can buy this. Yeah, I can buy that." And maybe they're better quality. I don't know, but all I know is I'm rooting for that individual, and I'd rather spend $25 on your product than maybe $20 on the other product, just
Yeah.
because I can get it $5 cheaper.
Yeah, or it's a
Is
discounted, right? And sometimes
Yeah,
some of these places can't do a full discount. But at least you're saving maybe some shipping here too when you're
yeah,
at these expos. No, for sure. That was, dude, one of the, I would say my top thing was getting to see Canadian brands and meeting the people.
Yeah.
And I posted a ton about, and there's a ton of other brands I didn't get a chance to kind of highlight, which we're going to hopefully be talking about soon in some banters. But yeah, it was just so neat to actually meet the people behind it, hear their stories, and kind of share a little of that as well. We've got 36 a day here as well,
Uh,
and I don't have my out of bounds head cover nearby, but throw that in here. And
we
shoebox,
also,
I got to throw a shoe. I was gonna wear this one today. Oop, I bumped the mic,
oh yes,
but
very
very
stylish.
nice. Jeff, great guy. But yeah, that was the thing. The people behind the brands was a huge part of the show.
There was also a lot of characters. If you remember exactly, I'm gonna tell my favorite moment.
Oh, please too. I'm so
There,
glad you remembered it.
there was this small little, because there's a million things you can sign up for, and I talked about the ability to putt or hit. A lot of it, all you had to do was scan a QR code, and they say, "Hey, scan the QR code, sign up," and you get three
Yeah.
shots of this, and you can win whatever it was. So, anyways, there was a putting green, and these fine gents, I can't remember who it was, were like, "Yeah, you get three shots at it. If you hit it, whatever, you win something, a sleeve of balls." So I get down there and I'm ready to putt, and you can attest I think in general I don't have the smoothest swing, and my putting stroke does look a little funky. I'm very crouched.
Yeah.
So sure, it's not a great looking putting stroke. I mid putt, and it couldn't maybe just made contact, and this man, grizzled, bearded,
Out of nowhere.
almost certainly out of nowhere, must have been
Yeah.
watching like a hawk, and not a joke, not being friendly, quite angrily almost goes, "You should put cross grip," like almost in my
Yeah.
ear.
And he, into the crowd.
God,
Even the guys doing it had to go, did that just happen? Because they were
they
second
thought I
guessing.
knew him. They thought it was like my dad.
Yeah, or like it was staged, like so they can't, because I think I was videotaping and I cut just before this wild man throws that line in
And
there. Yeah.
and they had pros there helping people out at the back of
Mm.
which was another great feature they had. It was like a deal for a half hour for like $20. I don't know what the deal was, but I
Yeah.
almost did it, and I would have done it if I had a little more time. I don't think he was a pro. I think he thought he was a pro, and he thought he was helping me out or cursing me. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm still, yeah. It was he a wizard cursing us? I did not see Waldo nearby, so yeah, I'm not sure if this guy was a wizard or not. Yeah. Bizarre. It was a bizarre thing.
That is such a deep cut reference.
Anish, yeah, that might be cut. We'll see.
I
We'll see.
didn't understand what you said. I was like, now I get it. I'm with you. I'm
Yeah.
there. Anyways, yeah, I don't know if I named three things about the convention, I keep saying the convention, but the golf show. But in general, absolutely, I'd go back next year. And I
Yeah.
think if you're kind of a novice like me, but you want to learn more about the clubs you're swinging, about the stuff you're winning, how to get better, how to get more into the world of golf, it can feel a little overwhelming. At least it did for me within that first hour. But having you nearby who kind of could go, this guy's this guy's this, let me introduce you to this guy. All of a sudden, I kind of got into a groove, and I felt like, oh yeah, not only is it a community, it's a community I kind of want to be a part of, and that's a great starting spot.
For sure.
If you can go, I mean, maybe if you don't go with someone like you who really knows what they're talking about, but go with a couple of buddies, talk to people, just talk.
Yeah.
Because it really was, once we started kind of chatting to everybody, and you were chatting the whole time, but once I kind of jumped in there, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think I definitely did need the second day, just, and that is more because I am someone who is going to get more involved with talking with more people, and we're filming more stuff. But yeah, it can take a full day of time, especially if there's a few guests you want to see. And I had to get over to the thrifted table and the vintage crew.
Yeah, that's right. Saw
Yeah,
that. Some great stuff.
yeah, it was great to see though. I went there on the Friday, and awesome stuff, some great collection, and it dwindled down so much by Sunday, which is a great and kind of sad. I did want to grab a few more things, but that means people out there are picking it up. Love to see that.
Yeah, great time.
Yeah.
Definitely will. I'll buy as soon as tickets go on sale for next year. I'm in. I'm
And
down.
speaking of tickets for sale, this is going to be kind of the worst segue ever. Tickets on sale now for everything Canadian Open. Speaking of the Canadian Open, the winner of last year's Canadian Open is the winner of this year's wasted Phoenix Open. winner, yeah, Nick Taylor. That was kind of, I wouldn't say bittersweet because I don't know if you saw some of the videos coming out of there, like just the debauchery. Especially that shot of Nick winning. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you. To
A
me,
guy being held on, and you just go, like, I never saw that on TV, and you're just going, this guy's got a chance to do something amazing, and we've got Buddy holding on for dear life.
you know
Bizarre
what?
turn of events there at the tournament this year.
It is a shame. A couple of things were. Let's talk about the bad, and then we'll talk about the good. Just
Yeah,
because I want to end on the positive, obviously,
good.
with
Yeah,
just Nick Taylor, and a lot of the golf was absolutely fantastic. But you're absolutely right. The headlines out of this tournament were not Nick Taylor comes away with the victory. It was the debauchery, the drinking, the fans.
hmm
Was it too much? Zach Johnson talking to fans, Jordan Spieth saying a couple of different things.
Billy.
Them cutting off beer sales, guys jumping into the bunkers. It was all fun until it wasn't, and it
Yeah,
happened just like that. And it's a shame as a Canadian because I was so excited for Nick. He shot 60 on the in the first round. I was going to say the Thursday, but I don't even know if he finished on the Thursday
yeah, I
because he had
still
the
don't know.
rain early on. But the first round 60, and then he kind of hangs in there, and he pulls it off in the a final round that we can talk about in depth a little bit more. But he wasn't really the headline. And not only that, this is a great tournament
Mm,
because it always happens in that window right before the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
a lot of people have eyes on it because they get over to their buddy's place early for the Super Bowl, and
yeah,
everybody's gathered together and they go, well, let's turn on the Phoenix Open before the Super Bowl. And it ends in that perfect time slot. But this one, because of the rain, it
yeah.
ended up bleeding over, and it was also playoffs, playoff also or two. It ended up bleeding over into the Super Bowl. So I think that took just some of the gusto out of
Yeah.
what is arguably, outside of the Canadian Open win and Mike Weir's Masters win and Stephen Ames's Players Championship win, like it's up there for one of the bigger tournament wins ever by
Yeah.
a Canadian. So I mean, that's the positive because forget all the extracurricular stuff. Amazing win for Nick Taylor. But yeah, what's your opinion? Like talking a little bit about the bad that you saw.
Yeah, it was so first seeing all the people drop out was the weird thing for me. I started going like, there's all these live rumors and stuff. And then some people are just saying it's straight up A, weather. They don't want another weird hybrid weekend where they're forcing in weird round. You're doing stuff that's not your usual setup. You're doing that multiple weekends a day. It's going to throw you off. And then you um, start to look at it. Yeah, it's the slow increase. And, I'll put the image there. I forget the exact numbers, but how rowdy this tournament really has become. And I think there's some players who can kind of pinhole what places they can go into and what tournaments they can play. Maybe we skip this one. And it's looking more like that was the reason behind the choice and not some weird, bizarre live merger thing happening. But yeah, what Nick Taylor putting his 60 is actually what really flipped me back onto the tournament, to be honest. That was like, okay, I have a reason to watch. And then, especially, again, I had a busy kind of middle, I missed a lot of the second and third round, but the fourth round, seeing that leaderboard. And you've got Scheffler, you've got the waste management sponsored guy, Hoffman, the oldest guy in the mix. He's got a heat pad on, not
Yeah.
just at the range. As he's seeing Nick on the playoff, they head off into a cart together, and he's got the heating pad on. I couldn't have been happier with watching that final. I said, if Nick somehow, I guess, blows it because of how well he was playing into it, I wouldn't have been that heartbroken because, you've got Hoffman, this great story.
I would say
Scheffler, even if he's squeezed in there, just dominant at this tournament. But I'm glad it finished the way it did. There was this bright silver lining in all the shit that was the craziness of that weekend.
it was a wonderful golf tournament. I think that's what's obviously I think it would have been maybe an incredible golf tournament if Scotty had kind of kept with Nick and Hoffman.
Yeah.
Uh, but he didn't, and that's fine. And I think everybody south of the border was probably rooting for Hoffman because what a wonderful story. I think he was going to be the oldest tournament winner since Phil won the
Yeah.
PGA. I may be wrong, but he was old. Like it would have been a monumental win.
Yeah.
But as a Canadian and as someone who I don't know a month ago on this podcast, I think I said that 5 Canadians were going to
hmm
win this year on tour. Like maybe 5 might have been a bit of exaggeration, but I
Said
think he
5
said
different ones, but that's true.
there's one.
Yeah.
And
And
I also just think from a Nick Taylor point of view, he won way back in 2014 when he first got onto the tour. Then he won in 2020. That's a long time between wins. And then he
yeah.
didn't win again until 2023. Now, not many people win 3 times on the PGA Tour, so that's an incredible achievement. But if we're talking about the upper echelon of PGA Tour players, you've got to do it a little more consistently.
Yeah.
So to see him win again so closely to that of the Canadian Open, and do it in a similar fashion where he was just knocking down putt after putt, iron after iron. He even struggled with his drives,
Yeah.
and yet
Well,
he was
him
able to overcome it.
Yeah, him and T they're playing together. I don't know if you noticed, he was going right so much, and then Taylor was going left. Both of them were playing like on this
Yeah,
side of the fairways and roughs all that day. But his scrambling and his ability to not give up on those situations, to save pars, to make birdies out of weird situations. Yeah, that was what really kind of made me start going. And like I said on the other podcast, I knew Nick was going to win something big.
yeah,
I was hoping maybe players, but the Phoenix Open is a huge accomplishment to do something this early in the season.
yeah.
Makes a real bid for himself. Yeah, just awesome. So
I
great.
also think he's making a bit of a name for himself as someone who doesn't mind the rowdy crowd, because this was arguably the most rowdy crowd the PGA
Yeah.
Tour has ever seen outside of the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup.
And I don't know if you heard them mention it, sorry to cut you off there,
Yeah,
but
no,
the Canadian Open, because I'm biased. I was there. I knew it was great. I knew it was loud, but I've been to Jays games. I've been to Raps, playoff games. I know things get loud, but I didn't realize, I guess, how monumental that Canadian Open was until you're seeing people talk about it. It was huge.
I can't remember who a it was on the broadcast. They had a
They had
current
Kid in there.
golf
Kisner.
Kisner.
Yeah,
I think it was Kisner who said that he was at the Canadian Open. He said it was one of the loudest tournaments he's ever been to. And for Nick Taylor to win the Canadian Open, one of the loudest tournaments Kisner's ever been to, then to win the Phoenix Open, one of the most controversial, loud, whatever you want to call it, tournaments in recent memory. It just bodes well for him. A, for the President's Cup this year in Montreal, and he's a shoo-in now. And B, just for those clutch moments,
hmm
the Masters, the U.S. Open. I mean,
and
the
Olympics
British.
now coming too.
Of course, I forgot
Yeah,
all about that. Yeah,
yeah. So it's he's budding at the right time. Like you said, there was this gap in between wins, but if you're gonna have 2 seasons that are very influential, these are it right now. That's a great time to do it.
no, it's great golf to watch. Very exciting, and it was worked out perfectly for me because the first half of the Super Bowl was complete garbage. So I got
Yeah.
it ended, and then a couple of minutes later, I got to watch Usher. Hey, by the way, not to change subjects too much, but Usher reviews.
Well, I liked Alicia better once I got, I was wanted more of her. Could have done with a little. It just he fell a little flat to me. But
I
he
thought
for his age
really.
and stuff, it was great. Yeah, but you've had like Rihanna pregnant. So that's what you're kind of like living up to. You've had Lady Gaga literally coming down like a spider. Like so I've got like a, you know,
You're not wrong. You're
an
100% right
image.
that you. I will say that Usher. I thought he was solid. That was about as solid as a halftime show as you're going to
Mhm.
get. But
Better
did
than
he
the
have the
weekend.
spectacle?
No, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the weekend was kind of weird because it was during the COVID. Remember,
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
he did it all inside in
And
that.
then there was all the mask versions of them because they had to wear a mask. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
too
that
much.
was so strange. Anyways, no, I had a great time with the halftime. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
That's a great segue. Speaking of the weekend, we're going to talk about the weekend, the new weekend, Day, Day Red. Tiger Woods' new apparel with TaylorMade, Sunday Red. He launched a lot more recently, other than the little teased logos and stuff. And I thought those like some might change a little, but I knew the logo wouldn't. That's kind of the melting Slazenger logo. Um, but I don't know. I some of the stuff looks so great on him. I've seen some of the stuff he was wearing today, like it was like a sweater, and then the logo on the hat. Like it looks so good on him, but anything's gonna look different than a check or the original Tiger logo, right?
And
Everyone
that
loves the TW.
and that's just it. It's going to take a while to get used to it,
Yeah.
and especially when he was so successful. And when you picture Tiger, it's just Nike. That's what the red.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know the backstory of why it's? I know why it's called Sunday Red. Like I get Sunday Red,
So
but why
there's a
is it
little
called
about it's
Sun?
like so I don't fully know because I know some stuff he said it's like tied in with his mom and the color red. My only guess would be Sunday, the day, it, you have to be there on the fourth round, so you have to make the weekend, make the cut. Sunday, the split one, is that just a feeling? Is that like a vibe? Or is that just like a trademark issue? They couldn't get the full sun, or they needed three-letter words to look right. I don't know. There's a lot going on with the
Yeah,
sun day. I don't
I
get it.
I mean I just took a peek before hopping on the pod here, and I thought it looked good. I thought it looked snazzy. And again, if Tiger's wearing it, then it'll probably look great. However, I don't know, but a couple of the shirts had the logo smack dab in the middle, and it almost looked like a chest mustache. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it's
yeah.
got a little like the logo. If you're from afar, it looks like someone put one of those fake mustaches right on your chest, which is the look that, hey, maybe some could pull off, but
Especially yeah,
probably.
if you're wearing like the half quarter zip and someone's just like, is that like a little? What do you got there? Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
gonna take some getting used to for sure. And again, this is, they did their little launch just before the tournament. But a huge thing is Tiger's got to be there Sunday wearing red for
it's
it
a
to
great.
work, for this whole thing to launch and work. If he doesn't make the weekend, and I don't believe they have any other golfers under their apparel line, so it'd just be Tiger watching in a lovely pullover, or I
I think he's been in enough Sundays that if he never makes another Sunday on the PGA Tour, he can still
yeah,
qualify for his Sunday red. I think he's done enough.
yeah. But
But you're not
it,
wrong to launch it now at this stage of
yeah,
his
but
career,
this
and he
just
doesn't.
shows you maybe he's. I told you this before. Maybe he's not gunning for wins now. It's but to be there on the weekend, to be in top tens, to be in contention. Not to just be that those are now wins for us. We
I
have
think
to say, he's a superhero at this point. He could be on the Champions Tour. He could be
should.
carted around. He
I
should have a heating pad on his back.
I said earlier, and I think it was about a month ago, the first pod that we did, you said, let's come up with some predictions for the upcoming season. And I said, I don't know how many tournaments Tiger's going to play, but he's not going to make the cut in any of the tournaments he plays. So that's the first. This week is the first
Yeah.
opportunity to see how he looks, and if
So you're
he's.
betting against Sunday Red. You're saying
I'm not.
terrible name.
I don't want to. Of course, I'd love
Yeah.
nothing more than Tiger to be around in contention. Incredible. He doesn't have to be in contention. I love watching. I love turning on a Friday afternoon, just popping it on my phone and seeing Tiger on my Twitter feed. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's so much fun. I love
Tiger
it. I
birdied
want that to happen
6.
for the
You're just
next
like,
20
oh,
years.
yeah.
But I just don't see him playing competitive golf with what he's been through, despite the new apparel line. But I hope he proves me wrong.
Mm.
And it's an exciting field this weekend. Golf's back. You know what? Just
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, uh, I'm for those that don't know, not interesting at all. But my work is very busy this time of year. So
Well, this is very interesting. Actually, I do want to do an episode about this. So we will put a. But yeah, continue.
yeah, so my work is very busy. Everyone's like, what does he do? Not very interesting. Just work for another sports organization. It's very busy this time of year.
You
My
have to be
point
at every
is,
Raptors home game. Let's just put that out there.
yes,
You
I
have to
have to
be
be at
at.
every Toronto Raptors basketball home
Yeah.
game. Uh, the Phoenix Open snuck up on me. It was just all of a sudden, and when you're a kid, and we used to, I mean, we still do, but we used to follow golf religiously.
Mm.
And I remember there were certain tournaments every single year that felt like this is the beginning.
Yes.
And I remember it used to be Pebble Beach in the Pro Am.
Mm-hmm.
And now I got to tell you, it feels like it's the waste management. And it's
I'm
not
gonna
up on me.
disagree.
Okay, tell me what
Yeah.
tournament feels like the beginning.
Well, right now I can tell right now they're trying to gun for this to be the start for sure. This feeling, but I always say the Arnold Palmer at Bay Hill. It's just that kind of these are the boom boom boom. They're really good lead ups, and then this one like really packs an extra punch
Yeah.
to me. And that goes, okay, we're locked in. And yeah, this one helps that like football's over. I think that's a good one that helps and more focus is on golf and stuff. But yeah, that's a big one for me.
Yeah, I mean, it to me watching Nick, and then maybe it's because the Canadian and this that. I got back into it. I felt like, oh yeah, the PGA is back, and I can't wait for next week. And with Tiger being back this weekend, the Bay Hill coming up, and just all of a sudden, I can't believe I forgot about the Olympics.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
busy year, dude. It's a wild, busy year.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. But I'm so pumped just to go back. I know I've already said this enough, but kudos to Nick Taylor. I mean, such a huge win and so exciting for a Canadian to win that way. It
Yeah.
feels like I know Corey's won. I know Mackenzie has won. I know the other Canadians have won here and there. But the way Nick has won these past two tournaments
And what he's won.
and what he's won,
Yeah.
it feels like something's brewing.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be something really, really exciting.
And again, if he wins in Hawaii, nothing to take away. That's great. That's another W. But there's something again about the waste management having that extra little bit of like a star next to that win, and the Canadian Open, the first one to do it in X amount of years, like 70 something years, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a huge star next to your name. And in these big moments, like you said, he's got Olympics and President's Cup coming up. How do you not want this guy on those teams and playing for you? It's awesome.
He's also got a flair for the dramatics. Oh, the celebrations, the putt on 18 to force the playoff, the leaning of the body, and then the fist bump. And then obviously on the second playoff hole.
He saw every side of that hole.
The first playoff hole, him walking in the putt on a playoff hole. It's not like you're doing this at the Ryder Cup. Not everybody's rooting for you. He walked it in, and then on the second playoff hole, the putter drop, and then
I love that, like the throw,
another
dramatic Nick Taylor finish. I'd love it. I'm here for it. I want more Nick Taylor dramatic finishes. Why not?
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Well, brother, I think we've done a full podcast. We got a lot to talk about. That means maybe we do bi-weekly, maybe we do bi-monthly. I don't know yet, but the PGA season is among us, and we are we're gonna see what Tiger wears. What do you think? I say he's gonna rock that camo number in there somewhere because they gotta throw some sales in there. The thing looks terrible on a mannequin, but we'll see what it looks like on Tiger. And he's gonna get that nice sweater and those early morning starts. But yeah, the red. Let's hopefully we see some red. Sunday red.
How about this? I don't know if this is something you can clock. Assuming he plays all 4 rounds, how many outfits are we going to see? So I'm including sweater on and then later in the day off as 2 separate outfits. So I'll put the over-under at 8 because, you have your sweater. Will we somehow see more than 8 if he plays 4 rounds?
Yeah. I'm going to say...
It's the first week.
Here's the thing. They're going to push it. They're going to be like, Tiger, we got the quarter zip here too. We got the pullover as well.
I'm saying over.
Okay. I'll take the under just to be safe. Maybe they don't have enough product and they're like, we didn't expect a cool breeze in Cali, but
didn't expect him to play the weekend.
That was you. Negative. But cheers everyone. And good luck, Tiger. We want to see the red. We want to see the Sunday red.
Sunday red.
And Canada. Nick Taylor.